Hi, everyone. Come on in. Find a seat. Okay. Hi, everyone. Come on in, grab a seat. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. Good evening, everyone. Come on in and find a seat. Hi, everyone. Please come in, find a seat, get settled. We're about ready to start. Okay, we're going to get started, everyone. Good evening. Hello. How are you? Come on in, grab a seat. We're going to go ahead and get started, all right? Can someone do like a little ding, 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 ding? That was good. There will be so much time to talk afterwards. Let's get ready to celebrate so many honorees tonight. I know you're coming in. I know there's so much to say. Oh, John.
Okay. All right, clap once if you can hear me. Clap twice if you can hear me. Clap 3 times if you can hear me. Thank you all for being here.
Yeah! All right. Oh my gosh, were you a teacher? Welcome everyone to the Asian Americans Advancing Justice AAJC's 27th Annual American Courage Awards. Give it up for being here. It is so great to be here in person, isn't it? In community with each other, clearly. It's also really the best of both worlds. So we just want to give a shout out to all the people who might be joining us in remotely as well. Thank you for being here in person and also online. We want to mention, we know that you're chatting, taking a lot of selfies, celebrating, so please We want to see it on social media. You can use the hashtag American Courage Awards. We want to see all of your memories. And even if that means hanging out on your couch with your family in your jammies, totally cool. We would love to see it. So we know so many of you have supported this event year after year, and we just want to thank you for the solidarity and the friendship. My name is Michelle Lee, and I'm going to be your MC tonight. I'm going to try to wrangle everybody, keep us on time. I'm a journalist from St. Louis. Has anyone ever been to St. Louis? Okay. I've spent many years working on stories that relate to advancing justice. So AAJC is very special to me specifically because over the course of 20 plus years, I've actually covered a lot of anti-Asian racism, hate, and discrimination. I have lived it, and I have actively fought it. So more recently, I co-founded an organization called the Very Asian Foundation. Oh, thanks. I got one, okay. That started after I received a racist voicemail on New Year's Day last year. It was just last year. Sometimes it feels like 10 years. But it ultimately sparked this moment of unity, and it led to an Ellen Show appearance, and eventually turned into a startup nonprofit that, thank you, that in the course of the year launched the May Book Project, the Creators Grant, and then started fundraisers for several other Asian American organizations all over the world. So in our first year, we were invited to the White House Summit. We were honored by the FBI. We were pretty small, but I would say mighty, thanks to so many people who have given us support, not only in this room, but online. And many people who are supporting tonight's event because of the groundwork laid by Asian Americans Advancing Justice, AAJC. So, yes, how about that? Really honored to celebrate amazing trailblazers through this incredible organization that does brave and courageous work every single day. Please help me welcome John C. Yang, the Executive Director of Asian Americans Advancing Justice, AAJC. The crowd wrangler.
Thank you very much, Michelle, for being our MC tonight. You are not only a reporter, but you are a community advocate and you are an activist. And we need more people like her to represent our Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander community in media and journalism. And we know what you faced was not easy. And we appreciate the bravery and the courage that it took to maintain that presence in that space. Thank you all for being here tonight, especially on a Friday night. I know there are so many competing priorities that all of us are facing, and all of us need some time to relax and unwind. So part of this evening, we do want people to relax a little bit, because this is a time just to get together, to reconnect with old friends, make new friends, just take a moment to recharge, and then rededicate ourselves to the work that we have in front of us. Because we know that the work we have in front of us is going to be very difficult over the next year. Look, our organization has seen incredible growth over the last 4 years. And the impact that we have here in DC and nationally is really quite palpable. And that's thanks to all of you, all of the different stakeholders that we have in this community. And so I want to recognize some of them. I won't be able to recognize all of you tonight because then it would take all evening, and we do want to keep on schedule. First, let me recognize our board of directors, our National Advisory Council. They help to provide the vision for us, to strategic plan for us, to think about how we invest, to think about how we grow in a manageable way. So I would ask our board of directors, our National Advisory Council members to stand and be recognized. Excellent. And we can't do the work that we do without the financial support of corporations, foundations, individual donors. And so I want to take a moment All of you saw, as you entered the room, there are slides that showed all of our different sponsors, our individual donors. For those that are watching on live stream, you saw that in the pre-show before this live portion of the event. But I did want to take a moment to recognize our premier sponsors, and that includes Comcast, NBC Universal. I know June is over there. Google with Chanel Hardy over there saying hi to people. as well as FedEx, who I don't think is in the house tonight. Oh, you are? I am sorry. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Also, part of our success is because of all of the partnerships that we have with so many people in the room, different organizations. I know that the American Immigration Lawyers Association is here. I know that the Legal Defense Fund is here. I know that JACL is here. So many different organizations. It's part of the work that we do together. Part of the work that we do includes the government, and obviously we are recognizing Julie Su, Acting Secretary Su tonight, but we have many people from the government, like Phil Kim that's sitting over there with the White House Office of Government Relations. We have, I think Erica Moritsugu said that she was coming, maybe she's not. Okay, thank you. Part of the problem with these lights is I can't quite make out everyone. And then I know Jenny Yang from the Domestic Policy Council is here. So thank you all. Part of it is because of all of these partnerships that we have and how we all work together. One of the people that we were hoping to recognize was Kaiser Permanente, who had made a significant investment in our anti-Asian hate initiative and our anti-Asian hate work. As you probably know, they are currently undergoing labor negotiations. We are a pro-union organization, and so we worked with them, and we mutually agreed that it would be inappropriate to have this time and venue to recognize them. So certainly we appreciate their support. We really think that the work that we are doing in the anti-hate space is great, and we do want to recognize that. We've been able to give out over $3.5 million in sub-grants to over 30 organizations throughout the country to really build the capacity that we need for our Asian American community to fight against the racism that we see in our communities. We're going to recognize some of these organizations in our newsletter. So if you haven't done so yet, please go to advancingjustice-aajc.org, sign up for our newsletter, sign up so that you get our updates on what's going on. And certainly, ultimately, the work that we do is done by our staff. And our staff has more than doubled over the last 4 years. And now we are a group of over 40 people. And it's their dedication, their passion that makes us who we are. And part of this is that passion is even while they are the impacted individuals, even while the rights that we are fighting for are the same rights that they themselves are looking to get. So I want to take a moment, ask our staff to stand, if they're already standing, to wave their hands, and then take a bow. So thank you. Lastly, I want to thank my family, and that includes my wife, Esther, my beautiful wife, my wonderful kids, Nora and Hannah. Many of you have heard me talk about them. My sister-in-law, Debbie, was able to join us tonight as well. And I so much appreciate their love, their patience, and support, especially when I have to work late, when I come home ranting about the congressional hearing that I was trying to endure, talking about the clown show that is Congress at times, and the racist and xenophobic policymakers. I just so much appreciate that support that I get from all of them. Thank you. And current events demonstrate why organizations like ours are so important and the work that we do is so important. Some of that work right now includes fighting it back against that xenophobia that we see, that anti-China rhetoric, and how that causes a backlash in our Asian American community, specifically around alien land laws or other policies that are designed to demonize, racially profile our Asian American community. Part of that includes advocacy, legislative advocacy, administrative advocacy around immigration to make sure that we have a path to citizenship, to try to reunite families, as Representative Judy Chu has done with the reintroduction of the Reunited Families Act. Part of that is addressing misinformation, disinformation, diving deeply into the implication of AI and how it affects our Asian American community. Part of that is seeking to preserve our voting rights and making sure that we do that even through litigation where need be, where we celebrated a recent victory in Arizona where we were able to eliminate a voter purge system that was trying to take place that would disenfranchise Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander voters. And part of that is being on the front lines on issues like affirmative action, issues like DEI and K through 12 education, and making sure that our voice counts and people understand that Asian Americans support affirmative action, support these DEI efforts, and that we will not be used as a political wedge in these efforts. And this year, like previous years, we have testified in Congress. We have briefed the administration and multiple agencies on our work. We have had the opportunity to meet on several occasions with the president and vice president and talk about the issues of concern to our community. We have published op-eds. We've engaged with the media. We have marched, the 60th continuation of the March on Washington, to demonstrate how we come together as a community. I am so proud of the work that our team does together, and the impact that we are trying to have for not just Asian Americans, but all of our communities. And even as we do this work, we know that we do this in solidarity. We don't do this in a silo. Like so many of the rights that we enjoy as Asian Americans came on the backs of the hard work that was done by African Americans in the labor movement in the 1960s. So it is in part with that notion in mind that I'm so proud and excited to be presenting the President's Award to Sherrilyn Ifill. Look, Sherrilyn's legal career and her legacy as a civil rights leader is known, very well known to all of us and known well to the nation. And indeed, she led LDF at a really perilous time, starting her tenure as Director Counsel when there was the evisceration of the Voting Rights Act in Shelby County, and then coming to 2020 during the summer of racial reckoning with the murder of George Floyd. But what I want to say about Sherrilyn is not just how she appears as that national leader, but how she appears in spaces that all of us belong. First, I would say she's a leader among leaders. So LDF, along with AAJC, are members of an organization called the Leadership Conference of Civil and Human Rights, which is an umbrella organization of civil rights organizations. When we get together, you might imagine that with civil rights lawyers and civil rights activists, we are passionate, we disagree, we also get despondent about the state of the union. One of the things I always appreciated about Sherrilyn was she was such a voice of reason. She always had a plan, had a thought about how we move forward, how we set priorities. But just as importantly, she was optimistic, even in those times. And she always gave us hope, and she told us, like, look, our ancestors have been doing this for centuries with odds even worse than ours, and they never stopped marching, they never stopped fighting. The second thing is just a personal thing. As you all know, when we had the violence against the Asian American community in 2020, 2021, Sherrilyn was one of the first people to call me. And she said, what can I do? How can I help? But just as importantly, she said, how are you doing? And that is also something that she brings. She understands the humanity to the work that all of us do. Obviously, for LDF and the African American community, she knows what those tragedies feels like. And so to know how we come together, we support each other. We offer wisdom and guidance. We offer a ear. We offer just a shoulder to cry on. And so that's the other thing that is just so personal about Sherrilyn that I just think is wonderful in this space that we need more of. So with all of this in mind, I am so honored, I am so privileged to be presenting this President's Award to Sherrilyn Ifill. whatever you need. Whatever you want.
Wait for it to stand up again so I can take this picture. Thank you so much. Thank you, John, and thank you, AAJC, and thank you, really, everyone who's here. Thank you so much, Puneet, and whoever else is here from LDF for coming to support me. It means so much to me. You know how much I revere that esteemed organization and how much I revere doing this extraordinary work. I want to just say a couple of things as part of the thank you. I thank John for his leadership and his allyship and his friendship, but I really want to thank all of you who have stood so firm in this period when we could have broken apart. There was a plan to break us apart. There was a plan to set us against each other in the affirmative action space. And you refused, as a community, to take up that invitation. You stood shoulder to shoulder with us, fighting for what is right, fighting for the community that we are all trying to build, fighting for the country that we have dreamed of and not yet realized. You stood with us. You refused to accept being cut apart or above. And you made clear that you sit on the side of justice, on the side of equality, on the side of what's right and what's true. And then we had the terrible spike in anti-Asian violence in 2020 that came in the months after the then president demonized the Asian American community for the global pandemic. And I know how painful this period was and has been for you because, as John said, we have lived this as well. And he's right, I did reach out to him, as I always do when these terrible tragedies happen, as I reached out to Jonathan Greenblatt as soon as I heard about Tree of Life, and to Maria Teresa Kumar as soon as I heard about Waco, because I understand that pain. I felt it that night when the Charleston Emmanuel Church massacre happened. And you do need allies to ask you, are you okay? Because your job, of course, is to look strong to your staff, to your family, to your community, but your heart is breaking as well. But what I want to thank you for is that over those months, as those attacks unfolded, you stood once again strong. There was an effort to lure your community into adopting the rhetoric of crime and punishment, the rhetoric of mass incarceration. You were asked to join the effort to not seek justice from law enforcement, and you didn't do it. You encouraged us to stand up and to become empowered bystanders. I took the training from your sister organization, Holla Back, and I encouraged my entire staff to do so as well. And you would not become part of what they had hoped would now be yet another wedge issue around criminal justice. And I point to those two things because in this perilous time as our democracy is unraveling, it is an absolute requirement that we stand together. We are also on the cusp of being able to take steps that perhaps we've never been able to take before, and certainly not in my 30 years as a civil rights lawyer, to begin to create the country we truly want. I know this sounds crazy because our democracy appears to be unraveling. But what is also unraveling are the systems that many of us have fought against for our entire careers as civil rights lawyers. Something new will be in its place, and the job for us is to make sure that we are prepared to make that new thing be what we have wanted. We are now at a moment where we must recognize that the compromises that we have made have not produced the results that we had hoped for. We have been nice people. We have tried to go along. We have accepted whatever has been the remnant of legal doctrines available to us. And now we should recognize that we must robustly stand in that space. The reason that I'm creating a 14th Amendment Center on Law and Democracy is because I claim the 14th Amendment. I claim its reimagination of citizenship in that first line. I claim its guarantee of equal protection. I also claim its recognition that white supremacy and insurrection was deeply embedded in our country and that we would need to protect ourselves against it. And so I do stand with those who are using Section 3 to try and keep President Trump off the ballot in Colorado. I know this is a nonpartisan event, and so I'm not attributing this to AAJC at all. But I stand for it because it's in the 14th Amendment, and we have the right to use this amendment that was created for the purpose of creating a new multiracial America. And I won't give in. And so I'm inviting you as well to see in this moment the opportunity, however you are strategizing, this is the time to demand what you really want, not what you think you can get. If there's one thing we can admire in our opponents is that they do that. They go for what they really want. And so I'm encouraged that as we enter this period of time, we understand the importance of standing together. In our unity, we are strong. We will be a majority of this nation. We are more strategic. We are stronger. We have greater vision. We're better educated. We're more likely to serve as public servants. We feel this work in our core. And so I know we can do it. It may not happen soon, but it will happen. And so I thank you for this recognition. I thank you for the relationship between our communities. I thank you, John, for your friendship. I hope that Hannah and Nora, you know that your dad is amazing. Even if you don't know it now, you will. You will. I have 3 girls, and they grew up around this too and got tired of it. They used to say NPR gave them a headache. But he's very cool. And and so is your mom, so is Esther. She's amazing as well. Anyway, thank you all so very much. I'm really, truly honored to be here. Have a wonderful evening.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Sherrilyn. Wow. I lost track of all space and time when she was speaking. It was so amazing. It is really so humbling to be in the presence of greatness. Tonight is really just one amazing honoree after another. And our next speaker, Teresa Siangatonu, is a well-known Samoan poet and sought-after speaker who believes that the health and well-being of the community is tied to writing and telling the stories of the Pacific Islander diaspora. So please welcome Teresa to the stage.
Good evening, family. How's everyone doing? Can you please help me and give it up for Sherrilyn once more? Thank you so much for your work, Sherrilyn. Thank you for the constant reminder that so much of what I know about justice, what I know about justice for AAPI people, has been on the backs of Black leadership, Black women, fine-tuning, and creating the framework that we lead towards our collective liberation, so thank you. Talofa lava, good evening, community. In our Samoan culture, we love a good proverb. One of my favorite ones that perfectly embodies our 2023 Changemaker Award honoree is this one. Oleala I le pule o le tautua. The pathway to leadership is through service. Samoans know on an ancestral level that anything that defines who we are as individuals comes directly from what we are able to do for the village, for our community. Sometimes our tautua, our service, looks like heeding the wisdom of the elders who've woven and laid out the fala mat for our leadership. And sometimes it looks like us courageously transcending traditions because we are training to be the kind of ancestors who are reaching and organizing and dreaming our way towards our collective liberation, even if we never get there in this lifetime. This is the spirit of the Changemaker Award, and it is my deepest honor to be here tonight to present this year's award to someone who embodies this spirit in her tautua and in her love for our beloved community. My sister, my comrade, my uso, Tavae Matalasi Samuelu. Daughter of Pastor Simeona from Leulumuenga and Auntie Ailawa from Salemoa, Tavae's change-making leadership is multi-pronged, y'all. It is generations reaching, it is youth and elder-led, and it is principled by her Bay Area political organizing upbringing, as well as her mentorship from queer, Black, and Indigenous women. In 2017, Tavae returned home to Tongva territory in what is presently known as Long Beach, California, to serve. We gotta let folks know that this is indigenous land that we're on, right? She returned back to Long Beach, California to serve as the executive director of Empowering Pacific Islander Communities, also known as EPIC. Her advocacy for Pacific Islanders, y'all, cannot be whispered or overstated. For years, Tavae has brought our Pacifica community issues and needs to local, state, and national tables across this country in groundbreaking, monumental ways, much of which is done behind the scenes with zero recognition. She just does the work. She is the most selfless person I know. Currently, as the Director of Community Initiatives and Grantmaking at the Asian Pacific Fund, Tavae is on a mission to uplift and adequately resource marginalized communities. She does this by helping to provide substantial grants and services to over 80 affiliate organizations in the Bay Area, addressing a wide spectrum of needs within the Asian and Pacific Islander communities from health to advocacy. But Tavae's commitment does not stop there. As a board member of Rise Youth Center, she works directly with young people, helping to create positive change in their lives and neighborhoods by fostering spaces for self-empowerment and justice. And as a board member of Pacific Islanders in Communications, Tavae dedicates her energy to advancing Pacific Island media, content, and talent. She is making sure that Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities and their histories, culture, and current challenges are not just represented, but celebrated, understood, and nurtured. So please, y'all, join me in congratulating our 2023 Changemaker Award honoree, Tavae Matalasi Samuelu, a true champion of change in the Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander community.
She was whispering that I'm not allowed to run. So I'm gonna stand still. What Teresa failed to mention is that she's the one who convinced me to accept this award. I am horribly, terribly uncomfortable with visibility and attention, and the importance of a Teresa and a Sina, and all the other phenomenal Pacifica women who hold me up when I'm falling apart, is that they demonstrate what it means to surround yourself with people who make it easier to see freedom, who make it safe to be seen. And so I'm willing to let you all see me tonight because they're here. And also I got 2 drink tickets. We're being honest. The reality of it is, when sitting and contemplating the notion of a change maker, there's the other significance of who you surround yourself with is that as a change maker, you are hardwired to see what hasn't changed yet, which means it's really hard to mark progress. and it makes you thoroughly dissatisfied with everything. It also means that I sat with contemplating whether this was enough. It's also incredibly daunting and humbling to be in a room full of change makers, full of people who have dedicated themselves and saw the most intimidating, threatening task and said that you were ready, and that you've been preparing, and that your purpose in life is to fight injustice, to be a threat to oppression. Now, part of this changemaker role also means that I've recognized that we're warriors by necessity, as Assata Shakur often teaches. I wanted to facilitate the changes to create healers, to necessitate healing and storytellers, so that generations from now, they don't have to fight as hard, so that they're not as exhausted. I also sat with the reality that I'm given this award for a role I left because I burnt out. And I want to be really honest about that, because the most change-making thing I did was let myself have rest, was to take time away. And I was able to do that, and I need you all to know that I'm being honored for the work that I did at Epic, but I handed over the reins to Estella Owima Church and Carla Blessing Thomas, two leaders who make it easier to breathe. And I think it was spoken of earlier, oftentimes the most challenging thing that we have is that we have to believe in a thing we haven't seen yet. That in this current climate, honoring the humanity of others is considered revolutionary instead of a necessity, instead of the bare minimum of what we could be doing with our lives. And so that also means that all of you and all of them and the folks that I've handed over this work to are so abundantly prepared to create a better world. And all of it fueled by Tautua. I was trying to figure out the Samoan proverb to leave you all with, to figure it out, but it's not really coming as a proverb. I think what feels most resonant right now is to explain Te Oleva to you all. So Te Oleva in Samoan, it's more a principle. It's a practice. It's an active thing that you have to do. It literally means to take care of the space. Now, I know in a Western context, in this very DC context that we occupy, space is distance, right? It's a thing that people say when they want to get away, like, I need some space. But what I want you all to understand about Te Oleva is that space is the sacred thing that connects us. And how do we take care of it? How do we make sure that the ways that we show up for each other, stand with each other, walk with each other, call each other when our communities are being threatened? How do we take care of that space? That every second, every moment is an opportunity to Te Oleva. Thank you.
Teresa, come back up and take a picture with Tavae. Here. Oh, wait, Tavae, here, take my drink ticket. Okay. And thank you for teaching us about rest and space. Very important. Okay, so I think the only way to follow that up is with spoken word poetry. Allison Shue is Montgomery County, Maryland's Youth Poet Laureate of 2023. Yeah, all right. Yeah, Allison is a high school writer and poet whose work exemplifies uplifting AAPI voices and artists and has been featured in several notable publications like Blue Marble Review, Unbroken, the Daphne Review, has also been recognized by the New York Times and the National High School Poetry Quarterly. Not only that, but Allison is also a local community organizer, demonstrating a real commitment to advancing civil rights through both her creative work and her community involvement. So please welcome Allison to the stage, a true artist and young activist. Come on up! Hi, come on up. Congratulations. Do you need your phone? You're okay. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. It is my honor and great pleasure to be a part of the American Courage Awards. As the Youth Poet Laureate of Montgomery County, Maryland, I believe in poetry's transformative power to shed light on societal issues. I want to use poetry and spoken word as a creative medium to raise awareness and inspire social change. The poem that I'll be performing tonight is entitled Footsteps, which I wrote last year. The poem reflects on the experiences of people who have had to endure injustice and oppression and conveys the collective yearning and dedication to building a more equitable and respectful society for all. Footsteps. On the broken soil of damp woods, hopping footsteps of a girl faltered to a trudge as she spotted flowers blooming next to the whitening bones from lynching. Deep rust-colored pistils like drops of dried blood fisted in petals. Her summer ended as she laid down her flowers. On the barren, windswept land of Manzanar, heavy footsteps tripes toward Japanese internment camps, ringed with barbed wire, patrolled by armed men. Ancestry became a signature of rejection, and hostility authored a shady page deflecting the glint of freedom. On the concrete road of Montgomery, Alabama, footsteps echoed in a rhythm of heartbeats, ripening into a roaring ocean. Courage blossomed from the belief that respect would revive from the lacunae in the narrative, and love would glow in its rawest form in all directions. On the winding trail called history, countless footsteps meander through starless nights, thickening fog, chilling cold, stirring within us a longing for belonging. We journey on, trusting the hardy steps on this scabbed earth, just as we trust the boundless blue of the sky. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, one more time for Allison. Thank you so much. Incredible. Very moving. Okay, now up next to present the American Courage Award is a man that many of you know all too well, Stuart Quo. Yeah, you can cheer. Stuart is co-executive director of the Asian American Education Project and is one of the architects of the Asian Americans Advancing Justice Affiliation. He is also President Emeritus of Asian Americans Advancing Justice Los Angeles, now called AJ SoCal, which he led for 35 years. In 1983, he served as co-counsel for American Citizens for Justice and Lily Chin, the mother of Vincent Chin. And fun fact, like our ACA honoree, he too is a MacArthur Genius Grant awardee. So we really should all be so lucky as to have our former boss want to present us with an award, right? So please share our hearty applause for Stuart Quo.
Wow, thank you, and it's great seeing all of you tonight. It's an honor to be with so many extraordinary people. I had to give a little shout out to AAJC. As Michelle said, I was the only out-of-state co-counsel in the Vincent Chin case. And after that case, and after Mrs. Chin left the United States and returned to China, I thought, we really need a national organization. We have strong regional organizations. In Los Angeles, we went up to 115 staff. But we needed a national organization. And so I spoke to our board and I spoke to our staff, and I called the Asian Law Caucus in San Francisco and ALDEF in New York, and we helped to start AAJC. And I'm hearing what John and Kim have shared with us tonight. I'm so proud of AAJC, and they have stood strong at a time when the Asian American community needs to stand strong and stand with our brothers and sisters in other communities of color. So thank you, John. Thank you, Kim. As you may know, the American Courage Award is given to those who have shown extraordinary courage or commitment to the cause of civil rights. And I can't think of another person who is more deserving in terms of her lifetime commitment to workers' rights than Julie Su, the Acting Secretary of Labor. Throughout her storied career, she has fought for justice on behalf of the underserved and disenfranchised communities. At 24 years of age, just out of Harvard Law School, I remember getting a call from Julie Su, who said she wanted to be an attorney at our office to fight against sweatshops. And she would gain a fellowship to fight these sweatshops. And at age 26, just 2 years later, Julie led our legal team on behalf of then, it was the Asian Pacific American Legal Center, and filed suit on behalf of 72 Thai garment workers in El Monte, California. But the case started when I got a call from a neighbor who worked for a labor agency and said, state labor agency, and he said, we need some Thai speakers to go on a labor raid. So I immediately called Julie. But it wasn't so simple. After she helped the workers in a sit-in to see the workers because they were about ready to be deported, I got some advice. And the advice was, don't take that case. And I'd say, why? I know slavery is illegal in Los Angeles, California. They said, well, even though Julie has connected with the workers and leading the sit-in along with the Thai Community Development Center, the employment laws in California were weak. So we would see the contractors imprisoned, but the large manufacturers and retailers wouldn't have to pay a penny because there was no joint liability, no employment liability. Secondly, the workers were tricked into coming to the United States. They were promised all sorts of things, but they were all undocumented. So unless we had offices in Thailand, they would all be deported and we would never see them again. And thirdly, they heard that the Latino workers in the sweatshop in downtown Los Angeles came to the legal center for help. And the advice was, don't take them either because they don't speak the same language. They've actually never met each other because the sweatshop workers were in the front shop. They weren't captives. Well, fortunately, Julie and our legal team didn't listen to any of that advice. Thank you, Julie. She and the legal team won 2 or maybe 3 motions to dismiss. We won those motions to dismiss so that the culprits, the retailers and manufacturers, could be held liable for what happened to the workers. And then we were worried about the immigration. And I remember Julie coming to me one day and saying, we don't have any strong arguments, but there's an obscure drug anti-trafficking law called S-visas, and the people who are victimized should be able to testify and get legal, temporary legal status to be able to testify against the contractors. And this is where AAJC came in. So AAJC helped us with Karen Narasaki, then executive director, helped us set up meetings with the head of the Immigration Service and the then Attorney General, Janet Reno. And Julie, as persuasive as she is, was able to persuade them that these workers were victims of a racket. It wasn't drugs, it was slavery. And we won on that count. I want to then say, all of the workers who were detained now have U.S. citizenship with the help of Julie and the staff of AJ SoCal. But Julie didn't stop there. She helped the workers unite, Thai and Latino. They had meetings trilingually with thousands of hours. I didn't dare sit in on them because I just thought, oh, I'm not going to add anything. But they united, they marched in each other's protest, and Julie just mentioned to me a few weeks ago that she and some of the workers went up to Sacramento in the year 2000. And I'm pleased to say California passed the strongest anti-sweatshop laws in the United States of America. Last month, Julie led a joyous ceremony to induct the El Monte Thai garment workers into the Department of Labor's Hall of Honor. She said that we freed the workers from captivity and deportation because we believed in their fight for justice. We represented them and fought with them, along with many community groups and labor groups, to regain their dignity as human beings, as people who reside in the United States of America, and they need to be treated as human beings. After 17 years, Julie transitioned to a broader level where she was the labor commissioner in California and then labor secretary, and now in her current role as acting secretary of labor. My wife, Pat, who is my lifetime partner, and I have developed with Julie's writing, a story about the El Monte Thai garment case. And we are trying to spread that story throughout K through 12 students throughout the whole country. Julie is obviously a nationally recognized expert on workers' rights and civil rights, and she exemplifies the best of the American Courage Award. And I thought of 3 traits that I hold dear with my dear friend, Julie. She has an empathy for workers, not a sympathy, but an empathy where they are not clients, they are sisters and brothers. Julie reaches out, so she has that empathy and solidarity, not just with Asian American workers, but workers of all backgrounds, all ethnicities. And that is so needed in the United States today. And finally, she has a passionate advocacy that President Biden is using right now, believe me. But this is so important because if you just have a bunch of bureaucrats running the Department of Labor, we will lose. So let me just say, Julie Sue certainly is deserving of the American Courage Award. Please join me in congratulating Julie Sue.
Thank you all so much for that. And thank you to Stuart. There's so much I could say about Stuart after our 17 years of work together and our now 30 years of friendship. But I do want to say that it was you, Stuart, who taught me that the first and most important question is always, what's the right thing to do? And so in the case that he talked about, but also in many other cases after that, we were faced with a question of whether to fight for some things, whether to fight for some people, but they always involved some costs, right? Some risk, as big fights always do. And so in that particular case, some of the companies that we ultimately ended up suing, but when we were talking about suing them for using sweatshops in their production and profiting from this indentured servitude labor, some of them were actually funders. Some of them had foundations that funded the work that we were already doing. And so I think there's lots of people, especially if you are from the nonprofit world, who recognize that that's not always an easy decision to make, to jeopardize your funding in order to do the thing that that you're being asked to do. And in all the time that I have known Stuart, he has never, ever once answered the question about what's the right thing to do and done something else. He's always chosen to do the right thing. And so that is something, a lesson that I learned as a baby lawyer working under Stuart's mentorship, and something that I take with me and have taken with me in everything I've done since then. And I think it just deeply shapes who I am and what I do and what I bring now to this level of government. And I just can't tell you how grateful I am, Stuart, for that lesson, how important it's been for me. So. I also want to say to Sherrilyn, who I've been a hero. You've been a hero of mine for such a long time, and your point about allyship and how our communities depend on each other. I think everyone in this room knows that the rights and protections that Asian Americans enjoy, we enjoy in large part because of the fearless fight and solidarity of the Black community. And when I first came to my job as Deputy Secretary of the Department of Labor, my team will tell you that the first thing I said and asked was, what are we doing to make sure that we do right by Black workers? And if we could figure that out, then we could also figure it out for everybody else. But if we didn't figure that out, then we will have failed. And so thank you for your leadership. And to Tavae, who spoke so beautifully. I'm also marveling at how everyone spoke with no notes, so I'm a little embarrassed that I have notes in front of me. But how powerfully you talked about what you have done with such humility, and how you've shown that it's the fight that is important, but it's also the ability to care for ourselves that is part of that fight. It's a really important lesson that I will carry with me as I go forward also, and thank you for that reminder and that living lesson that you've shown. And Allison, like, what the heck? Where's Allison? I mean, I don't know how old you are, but that was amazing. what you did up here. There's so many friends in the room that I'm afraid if I start to mention them, I'm gonna leave some out. But I do wanna acknowledge so many of the people from California who are here. Obviously, Pat, and Betty, and Angela. Oh, I saw Angela. Angela, are you still in the room somewhere? One of the first Asian Americans I ever saw as a civil rights lawyer, before I even thought, Angela, where are you? Oh, okay, wonderful. So Angela, thank you all. It's so great to have you all here. And I also actually want to acknowledge a force inside the Biden-Harris administration, and that is Erica Mortsugu. So everyone, I think, knows this, if you know her, but since I've gotten to see it up close, I just want to say that Erica is the person who around every table that she is sitting at, in every room that she is in, she's always thinking about who is not in the room and creating space for them to be at that table. So Erica, we stand on your shoulders and thank you for everything that you do to make us really proud. So about 6 months ago, President Biden called my mom to tell her that he was going to nominate me to become the US Labor Secretary. It wasn't planned, it wasn't scheduled, it was because I told him that for my immigrant parents, it was unfathomable that their daughter would ever be in the cabinet of a United States president. And so he called them, and of course they didn't answer. They didn't recognize the number, but he did leave a very, very sweet message for them. And about a week later, the White House asked me if I wanted to invite my family to see me get nominated at the White House. And they later told me that when they started organizing this event, they were stunned at how many people, labor leaders, but a whole bunch of Asian Americans, said they wanted to be there. And so they ended up moving the event, they ended up finding a bigger room, they ended up doing it in the largest room in the White House. And yeah. And when they told me that, I stopped for a moment and I thought, yes, that is what family looks like, right? That is our family. And I will never forget the feeling of being in that room with so many just Asian Americans, Asian faces looking back at me in that historic moment. And it was, I think, very powerful for all of the other people who had done events at the White House and other things to just see how much that meant to our collective family. So I want to thank you, John, and the entire Advancing Justice family for this incredible honor. As I thought about American courage and what it means, I thought about people like last year's American Courage Award winner, Senator Mazie Hirono. I thought about other past honorees like Karen Narasaki, like Ai-jen Poo, Asian American women who were often the first and only in the room, who were willing to say things that people didn't want said, who were willing to fight for things when people wanted just to move on, and who also, like Erica, fight for those who are not in the room to be at any table that they are at. And it also makes me think of you, John, leading this organization through some of the really toughest times that we have had, people have already talked about this, right? But where frontline workers were really devastated by COVID, and then on top of that, we saw all the skyrocketing anti-Asian hate, anti-Asian violence, anti-Asian sentiment. And you are always making sure that people who are not in the room are at the tables that you are at. And I also want to say something to Nora and Hannah and to Esther. You all have made me part of your family when I live really far away from my family here in Washington, D.C., and I'm so grateful for it. And to Nora and Hannah, I know sometimes these dinners, you're like, I have to go to another dinner. But I also have 2 daughters, and so as mothers with now grown children, I am very sure that not only will you remember these moments as times where you saw just how kick-ass your dad and your mom are, but also it gives you space to imagine things that are not yet. Tavae's point, right? Imagine things that are possible but don't yet exist, and I think that is a gift that you are giving your children as they come to event after event. But I think those are the things that will stay with them. But thank you so much to your whole family. So tonight feels like a homecoming for me because, as Stuart said, I've spent my entire career, most of my career until I came into government, in the Asian American civil rights community. And I am aware every single day that my standing here and serving as I do I am indebted to this community that fought so hard for representation and for me to be here. So I wanted to thank you all for that. And I also wanted to say very clearly that when I say that, I'm not also saying that I'm not the right person for the job, right? So I have spent my entire career fighting for working people, for issues that are related to what the U.S. Department of Labor does. I was the labor secretary in California, the only state agency that I think rivals the U.S. Department of Labor in size and breadth and scope. And so I say that I'm here because of the community's advocacy to emphasize a really important point that I have seen throughout my life and throughout my career. And that is whether at institutions of higher learning or at the highest levels of government, that the push for diversity and real representation means not that those who are unqualified get jobs, but that those who are wildly qualified but otherwise overlooked finally get our chance. And when we get that chance, as you've already heard tonight from others, watch out, because we are going to make it count. When I think of courage, I also think about the courage of people like my parents, and there's so many stories like that in this room, I know, who came to the United States with nothing and built a life. My mom came on a 30-day voyage on a cargo ship because she couldn't afford a passenger ticket. And like so many children of immigrants, I grew up translating for my parents, right? Navigating the adult world and adult interactions. And I learned from a young age that law is also a language. And it's the language that decides who gets what in our society. Who gets to march, who gets to migrate, who gets to vote, who gets to marry, who gets to who gets to work. And that those who speak it get to decide that thing. And so I went to law school to become a translator in the language of law for people who were marginalized, discriminated against, and exploited. And so when I think about courage, I think about people like the Thai workers that Stuart mentioned, that I had the great privilege of representing, and who taught me so much about what it means to fight, and who we did get to induct into the Department of Labor's Hall of Honor a couple weeks ago. So imagine. These are workers who were trafficked in the United States, experienced the most horrific conditions, right? They worked 18 hours a day in a barbed wire enclosed compound that they were not permitted to leave, sewing clothes for some of our nation's top manufacturers and retailers. And when they were done sewing, they dragged their tired bodies upstairs to sleep on the floor, 8 or 10 to a bedroom. All of the windows were boarded. They weren't permitted to leave. They weren't permitted to make any phone calls. And they went from that to a prison that our government put them in, immigration detention, telling them they were going to be deported. And when I met them, they were wearing orange prison jumpsuits. They went from that to being honored in our nation's capital, which is really what American courage, I think, is all about. And I want to say that to have created this space for them was not just to translate for them, like translate so they understand, but also to translate their stories for others, right? So the role of the translator is also very much to bring to light stories and experiences that might otherwise not be heard or seen, and to make sure that they are heard and seen. So for all of us in this room, let's keep fighting so those who are left out or who are forgotten or who feel invisible know that they are not. Let's keep fighting for those who are not in this room to be at our tables. And as this country continues to rebuild, and I really hear you, Sherrilyn, about the threats to our very democracy, I do think we have a chance to do what President Biden has asked us all to do, which is to leave no one behind. Build a country where everyone is included, where everyone gets to share, and where everyone has a seat at the table. So let's make it count. Thank you so, so much.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Julie. You know, I was just thinking when she was saying taking up the biggest room, I don't know if this is the biggest room, but look around. We are taking up this whole room. It's amazing. Well, last year, Advancing Justice, AAJC, introduced a new award in honor of the late Norm Mineta, and it was designed to celebrate the next generation of leaders. Before we introduce you to this year's recipient, we do want to share a brief video, and out of respect, we've been asking you to post videos and pictures all night, but out of respect, we do ask that everyone here in the room just hold off from recording any portion of this video so that we can all enjoy this tribute together and be in community together. And we do want to thank the Mineta family and the Mineta Legacy Project for the images and footage that you are about to see. Let's take a look.
How do you honor a trailblazer like Norman Y. Mineta, who, despite experiencing the pain of an unjust incarceration by his own government, led a life of unparalleled service and duty that inspired countless others to follow in his footsteps, whose integrity and passion earned the respect of all who knew him. While driven to change the nation he loved for the better, never lost sight of our most vulnerable and marginalized communities, and was deeply committed to increasing Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander participation at all levels of government. How do you pay tribute to a man who represents the very best of America?
In honor of Secretary Norman Mineta and his life in public service, Asian Americans Advancing Justice, AAJC, is proud to announce the Norman Y. Mineta Spirit Award, which will honor individuals who exemplify Norm's courage and dedication to community in protecting and advancing civil and human rights for all.
We thank Norm Mineta for his service to our communities and to our country. Norm knew so well the importance of young leaders. He mentored so many of us during his time, and when he mentored us, he got to know us. For Norm, it was important to know people's names, not because they were famous, but not because of their titles, but rather he knew that getting to know people would result in people being better servants for our country. We want to honor Norm and his spirit with this award, because the best way to honor his legacy is to continue fighting for the dreams and ideals for which he believed.
Last year's very first honoree, Tarina Ahuja, to present this year's Norman Y. Mineta Spirit Award.
How's everyone doing? Yeah? Well, my friends, it is truly an honor to be here at the American Courage Awards again, but this time not as an honoree, but as a bridge, introducing a dynamic young leader who has been a beacon of hope, resilience, and leadership for the Asian American community. In this room, we celebrate stories of courage, compassion, empathy, and resilience. Stories that are written not just with words, but with actions that resonate in the hearts of communities and individuals alike. Last year, I had the honor of standing on this stage, humbled to receive this award, an accolade named after a trailblazer who inspired us with dedicated service and leadership. Today, it is my privilege to introduce you to this year's recipient, Rohit Katharia. Rohit is a senior at Vanderbilt University who has shown us that the journey to build inclusive educational environments and spaces requires not just passion, but a commitment to action. Growing up in rural Southern Ohio, he recognized the disparities and has since channeled his energies towards ensuring higher education and making sure it's accessible to everyone. His relentless efforts saw the birth of Vanderbilt's AAPI Fund and the Asian American Studies program, paving the way for future generations. Not just content within the confines of Vanderbilt, Rohit expanded his vision nationally with the founding of the Asian American Studies Collaborative. Beyond his tireless advocacy, he is a Hindi poet, a dancer, and a 2-time Jeopardy contestant. My goodness. But I also want to share a short little anecdote about Rohith, and this is like very recent. So when I found out that he was getting the award, like us Gen Zers do, I DM'd him on Instagram, and I was like, yes, King, you got this is amazing. And then a week later, I actually got the email asking if I would introduce him, and I was so excited. But just the energy we shared over a simple Instagram DM, and then the energy we shared out there when we were having a conversation just made me understand how beautiful of a soul you are, how warm of a soul you are, and how you literally brighten up every room you walk into. And I've only walked into one room with you, and I already know that. But I'm so honored to be introducing you and giving you this award today. So let's give him a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. I just first want to start by saying how much of an honor it is to be here, and truthfully, after hearing all of the other honorees speak and getting to meet so many of you wonderful people in the last 90 minutes before the reception started, I have a clearer path for my future, and I want it to be doing work that all of you are doing. All of you are who I truly aspire to be. But for tonight, I want to just first thank the AAJC for this incredible honor. It means so much to me to be able to represent youth advocates who are fighting for the changes we want to see in our society. And it is especially touching, especially with what the video sort of showed, to be named or to be given an award named after a trailblazer in the Asian American community, in the public service community, and who truly, I believe, was the epitome of American courage and blazed the trail for young Asian American advocates such as myself. So I extend my deepest gratitude to the AAJC for this honor. I also want to thank Wendy Wu and Angela Yan, who are back in Nashville right now, but they are two amazingly passionate community advocates who have been instrumental in shaping my journey. I can guarantee you all that without their endless dedication, I would not be standing before you all today. I also want to thank, above all, my parents who are in the audience here tonight. They have truly been my guiding lights since day one. And just as an example, when I was younger, I guess I was gonna say as a kid, but I'm only 20. But when I was younger, adults asked me, as they do with so many kids, what I wanted to do for a job when I grew up. And my parents, especially my mother, made it abundantly clear that they had no preference for what I did so long as I was doing something that made life better for other people. And beyond just their words, their examples, everything that they've done for me and for the communities that they're a part of has shown me that the most fulfilling thing that we can dedicate our lives to is the people and communities that we surround ourselves with. And today, as I stand before you all, I am reminded of the beauty and the hope that come from dedicating your life to the people around you. And for me, this hope is best reflected in the flame that embodies the AAJC logo. I always love a good metaphor. But I truly believe that each of us possesses a unique hope, unique desires, unique dreams, some of which we choose to share with the world. But other times we hide our biggest dreams and our biggest flames in fear that someone else might extinguish them. And I want to share with all of you that in my limited time on this earth, I have learned that we need to push back against that as hard as we possibly can. For as terrifying as it might be, being who we completely are, sharing our full selves, our hopes, our dreams, our desires with the people around us, with the world, is one of the most important things that we can do in our lifetimes. I firmly believe that living a life with our passions brightly lit and for the world to see is the greatest way that we can help illuminate the world for somebody else. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to sincerely thank the AAJC for helping bring out this fire in so many passionate advocates. It is a privilege to stand alongside you all in the pursuit of a world where we let every fire burn as brightly as it can. Thank you. Awesome.
Oh my gosh. Congratulations. Don't you feel like the future is so bright? Yeah, it's nice. Okay, so this is the part of the program where we help make sure that the future remains bright for our community and for advancing justice AAJC. Please welcome to the stage Kenzo Kawanabe and Judy Lamb for the Fund a Need portion of the evening.
You ran right by your mic, Judy.
Yes. Oh, thank you. So we can be mobile.
Hey, good evening. My name's Kenzo Kawanabe.
Good evening. I'm Judy Lamb.
And we know we are the last thing between you and closing remarks and dinner. So I've got my timer. We're going to try and raise a little money for the great work you've heard of tonight. So, Judy, you want to kick us off?
Yes. Well, I'm here from Los Angeles, so holding up the West Coast. And as a board member and also as a litigation partner at my law firm, Maynard Nexon from Birmingham, Alabama, we are here to support courage and civil rights. And I know that when AAJC made the call for you all to come, you all answered. So you've all come to stand with us. And for that purpose, we're going to get you all we've been sitting for a little while. So we're trying to get this like the audience participation part of this, and to really kind of activate more support for the good work that you've heard about, tonight. So we come together not only to congratulate and to celebrate all of the wonderful honorees tonight. Let's get one more round of applause for everyone who was honored tonight. But also to make a substantial difference and to pave the way forward.
Great. We're not here just to celebrate our heroes in commitment to civil rights. We're here as a call to action. But there really is no pressure. We're going to have fun for about 12 minutes, right? I mean, I am grateful, Judy is grateful for our family, our friends in this room that help quell that longing of belonging and create shared space. That's why we're here. And so you've already contributed. You already support and work with us, and we realize that. But if you are inspired to dig a little deeper, please pull out these little orange flames. And Judy, it's a little cold. Should we fire this up?
I feel like we need a little more heat.
Can you pull out this orange flame?
I'm not sure everybody knows what to do. Could we do like a practice of how this works?
I think we could do that. All right, so in your programs, there's an orange flame. This costs you nothing. Will you just pull it out, please? We are not the type to say, John Yang, I see you scratching your head, you owe me $1,000. We're not like that. So just put your arm out. It's going to feel good. Let's fire this up. Yeah, we're firing it up. I love it. Okay. All right, I'm going to start our timer, Judy. What do you think?
All right, so we're going to call for support, and I want you all, this is the time not to be shy. If you're a shy person, this is the time where you pretend to be somebody else. Pretend it's Halloween, and we're not going to be shy. So if you feel moved by the work that AAJC is doing, please stand up, make a noise, do a chicken dance, whatever you need to do to let us see you. We want to see you and hear you and your support.
All right, I'm starting our timer, shall we? Here's our goal. $100,000 in 12 minutes. I don't know. It's just a goal. So
Yes,
let's
we
start
can.
it off.
Yes, we can.
All right, so we have 5 different levels, maybe 6. We're going to start with $10,000 level. It supports our work, including our litigation against racist laws, against our immigrant families. It promotes our efforts against anti-hate.
Let's just get it going.
Yeah! And parking leaves at $10,000.
$10,000 parking.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
And
Anyone
our wonderful
else?
staff will take down your name and your number.
Anyone else?
Wait, I just got word.
10,000.
Douglas Jackson.
Yay,
What?
Douglas.
I knew we should have gone higher. All right.
Please stay standing, and a staff member will come and find you. We want to see you and congratulate you.
I just got a note that our board member, Jacinta Tatalia Abbott, is not feeling well. I know you're watching. She's in for $10,000. That's $30,000. All right. All right.
That's great. Anyone else? 10,000. Don't want to squelch any. I know it's a big number, but I know we have some high rollers in here. All right, 10,000. If anybody is shy and feels like you want to donate anonymously or donate quietly, there is a QR code in your program, and there are staff outside. So not everybody's loud like me, but you know, we do want to be able to get get everybody to invest in the future that AAJC has started.
Judy, you're not loud. You're inspiring.
Oh,
I love
thanks.
it.
I love you.
it.
I love you.
So what's our next level?
All right, the $5,000 level is half of 10,000, and I feel like the energy is just starting to heat up. Gina, thank you.
Oh, Gina Shishima.
Gina Shishima. Linda, thank you. Thank you so much. Tim, thank you so much. Jeff, thank you.
Jeff.
5,000. 5,000.
Oh, my
Thank
goodness.
you.
Andy.
Thank you.
Oh.
5,000. Thank you so much. 5,000. Thank you, everybody. Anyone else? And I know that we have people tuning in virtually, so we may hear about sponsors that are coming. Oh, thank you. Okay, and then magically
Marie,
appears.
what else we got?
All right, so Joan Haratani, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Joan in LA.
$5,000.
All right.
So I'm starting to feel the heat.
I'm
starting to
feeling
feel
the
a
heat.
little
I gotta loosen the tie, unbutton the jacket.
All right.
We're trial lawyers, so we're not very good at math, so somebody's keeping up the tally. Somebody's tallying this up. All right, we're gonna go to 2,500. I'm gonna skip the hype because Parkin's gonna tell me to shut up. Parkin, you got something else for us, a little matching
That's right.
grant?
This is for the good work of AAJC.
What are you thinking?
That's right.
That's right,
Justice costs
cheap.
money.
Whoa. Oh my
All right.
goodness.
So you double your money.
Hey, let's make Parkin poor.
Yes, that's
let's
right.
Let's get him to contribute
Value.
$25,000.
Thank you,
oh my
Mas.
goodness.
Thank you, Grace.
Hold on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Board Chair.
2,500.
Hold
Thank
on,
you
hold on.
so
Stay
much.
standing. Can you
Thank you.
wave
Stay
those
standing.
a little
Wave.
bit? A little hotter? Yes.
Come on. It's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Who else wants to make Parkin poor? Come on now.
2,500. We're almost
Anybody
there
else?
to 15,000. Almost there. Yes, we see you. That's great. Thank you, Parkin, for rising, and thank you for everyone who's standing up with us. This means your generosity will be doubled and doubling the impact. So let's go to $1,000.
All right, two more levels.
$1,000.
All right.
And there are different ways to give. You can give by check, by yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yay, wow. It's a wave. It's a wave. Thank you.
Anurag,
Thank you so
shake
much.
it up,
Yes,
shake it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, this is exciting.
Yay, waving. Thank you so much.
It's so hot.
It is. It's getting hot. And I would like to sort of generate.
Is that Lisa back there? Yeah, hype it up. I see you.
Yay. I will pledge $10,000 for anyone who gives, and match everybody who gives at the $1,000 level up to 10. Thank you very much.
We just doubled our money. Thank you.
Yes.
All right, let's do one more. One more, we'll close it out. We'll eat, we'll drink together. Let's go $500, yeah?
500.
Or should we do 100? What do you think?
I think 500 is
$500?
good. Let's stretch.
Okay. Stand up, I see
Thank
your flames. Come on. All right. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Grace.
All right.
Thank you, Arlene.
Thank you
nice
very
to
much.
see you.
$500.
Yay,
We so
thank
appreciate you.
Yes. All right. I feel the space. I feel it. And I feel the warmth. Thanks, everyone.
Are we done? Is that it?
I think that I think that everyone else is a little bit shy. Last chance. Stand, be recognized.
Should we do 100?
Yay. Can we do 100? Can we please? Let's do that.
I'm sorry, one more. $100. Could we raise the flag if you... Oh, no. And Parkin's money's still on the table.
I think so. I think so.
We're
Last chance.
$5,000 short of $100,000 in 12 minutes, and
Thank
we've got
you.
1 minute left.
Thank you so much.
All right.
And for anyone who wants to support and doesn't want to make a big spectacle of it,
True.
you're welcome to. Every donation does
We have
count.
a QR code. No, we don't take Bitcoin, but
We will
everything
take
else.
Bitcoin.
No, we don't take Bitcoin. All right, one last. What?
Yes! Yay!
Oh! All right.
Yay.
We out.
Thank you.
Thank you for your generosity and
Thank
support.
you.
All right.
Thank you so much. And to close it out, Michelle, thank you. I am feeling so very Asian. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you. Great job. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful. Okay, is it hot? Are you hot? All right, so we have really done a great job of going over, which is awesome, because that means we're having a great time. But it really has been my pleasure to be your MC for tonight. Do you feel good? Feel great? I hope people who are watching at home are, clapping along with us virtually as well. Those of you who are watching online, I do ask just for a moment of indulgence because I want to address all of those in attendance. We do have several wonderful items available in our silent auction tonight, and we invite you to check them out and bid on the items after the conclusion of this program. So the winners of each item, by the way, will be informed during the post-event reception, and I want to share some of them with you. We've got from 88 Rising, we have 2 VIP tickets to Head in the Clouds, the first and largest Asian-centric 2-day music festival in America. It has become the largest music festival in Los Angeles County and New York City, celebrating arts, food, and culture. It is valued at $850. Also, we have some really incredible wine from France and from Tuscany. We're talking about bottles that are valued at $580 and $280. So that is incredible. You will also have a chance to bid on a custom cake from Cake Stories by Tanya. That is an estimated $120. And then we have 4 Johnny Walker Blue Label bottles of very rare whiskey. Only 1 in 10, only 1 in 10,000 casks of perfectly aged rare whiskeys maturing in the Johnny Walker Reserves has the quality, character, and flavor to make it into a bottle of Johnny Walker Blue Label. So really don't miss out on that special auction item as well. That could be a really wonderful gift. So those bottles are estimated at about a value of $249. And then lastly, we have a special night out at Anju, a contemporary Korean restaurant and pub bringing old traditions and new concepts to the DC metro area. The name actually refers to Korean dishes best enjoyed with alcohol. So highlighting a range of sweet, salty, and spicy tastes. And actually, I've been texting with Danny Lee, and he said he is so honored that he was able to do that tonight. So we encourage you to take a look at the full inventory of items in the Holman Lounge right after the program. But we are getting near the end. And so for now, for our last speaker of the evening, Kim Tran is a trailblazer in her own right, having been the first woman of color to serve as the president of the King County Bar Association, which was founded in 1886. Yeah. And now, as the new chair of the Advancing Justice AAJC board, she is ready to work with the Advancing Justice AAJC staff and continue moving toward that equitable future that we all envision. And I feel like my Seattle sister, too. Please welcome board chair Kim Tran to the stage.
Thank you, Michelle. You're so warm as an MC, and I just very much appreciated that and your giving game, the drink ticket. I want to thank my employer, GitHub, for allowing me to dedicate my time as a part of AAJC. It's very special to be here and to lead the board in the NAC, and also to my board members and my NAC members who are just so inspiring. We spent last night together, and then today at a board and NAC meeting, and they are just so inspiring, the work that they bring. And also, when we had an opportunity to meet with the staff of AAJC, I mean, it's life-giving. And it's truly an honor to see the work that AAJC is doing. So in your, and I do recognize that I'm standing between you and some heavy appetizers and some more fellowship. So I'll make this very short. But there's a couple of things I do want to remark on. And that is, so in your awards programs, there's a quote in there, a partial quote. And I thought I would leave you in closing with the remainder of that quote. And it's a quote from Tayana Paris, who was a strong media diversity advocate and a Juilliard-trained actress. She said in a speech, "It only takes one person to mobilize a community, inspire change. Even if you don't feel like you have it in you, it's in you." I'm going to say that again. Even if it doesn't feel like you have it in you, it's in you. You have to believe in yourself. People will see you for your vision and passion and follow you. I feel that that entire quote truly embodies the passion of the staff and the work of Advancing Justice AAJC. Asian Americans have been a part of the American story since its earliest days. If we are to build and promote the fair and equitable society we want for Asian Americans and our allies, we cannot do it alone. And it's a theme that has been echoed all night tonight, which is part of advocacy is standing in solidarity with our partners. Our programs are tied to work in our community, and as we look ahead, we will continue to stand in larger solidarity with others fighting systematic oppression. Asian Americans work as part of a broader coalition. The work that we are able to do at Advancing Justice AAJC is rooted in the legacy of civil rights giants who are with us here tonight and other organizations and communities. We are proud to stand on the shoulders and continue this work. The journey ahead becomes lighter when undertaken together. We are so overjoyed to partner in this work with all of you. So I would like to extend my congratulations to all of our honorees. I would also ask all of our honorees and all of our presenters and speakers from the podium, if you could please make your way to the step and repeat so that we can honor you and take pictures together. So thank you to our staff, to our President and Executive Director, John Yang, to our board members, to our NAC members, to our honorees, and to all of you for being in fellowship with us tonight. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your evening.